618, Talk 1073 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We're already running long. Even by myself, I can't shut up. All right, we're covering sports right here. Let's start off with the big news from yesterday. Check in with Fox Sports, NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, talking about the Saints hiring Kellen Moore. It's 620. Here's the Fox Business Report. All right, heading back to Shaw Bill's Tire Traffic Center. Here's what we've got going on this morning. A little bit heavier than normal volume coming in from Denham Springs on 12 westbound. Not enough to make you want to change your route, though. In fact, once you get past Range Avenue, once you get clear there, getting closer to the Amite River Bridge, it opens back up all the way until you get towards the 10-12 merge, where you might tap the brakes a little more. 10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish looks great. 10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge looks great. And 110 is looking good as well. Checking your surface streets, and we got nothing at all. No accidents to report on surface streets. That is your look at traffic from the Shaw Bill's Tire Traffic Center. Just coming back to me. Here we go. 625 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolls right along. I neglected, or I shouldn't say I neglected. I just straight up ran out of time. We had one other sports story to cover right there. Quick and easy. 8 p.m. tonight. LSU is at Arkansas. The Razorbacks are 3-7 in Southeastern Conference play. However, they are 3-3 in their last three conference games with a win over number 12 Kentucky and a 4-point loss to Alabama. Although, if you get into that Alabama loss a little bit further, they were out of it and climbed back into it. But Arkansas is on the rise. LSU, of course, still 1-9 in conference play. But if you're looking at possibilities to get a conference win, tonight might be one of them. 8 p.m. on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. Time for Legally Served. Let's go. I'm not hearing it. What are 'em still not hearing it. .627 Talk 107.3 FM. Time for Legally Served. In for Franz Borghardt from the Longman Jackie Beck Law Firm. We got Richard Sprinkle in the house. How are you, sir?
Great, Brian. It is a great day in the U.S. of A.
All right, you're chipper.
Yes, I am.
All right, why?
Well, I don't know. A little thing happened yesterday.
What happened yesterday?
Interesting. It was kind of interesting. Ken Levy's TRO is now granted. He's going back to class. He's going to be teaching Thursday.
Okay, and you are excited about this.
I am.
Okay, why?
Well, the system worked. The system worked. It was a long day and a half of hearings. It got started at 1:00 Monday. I was present for the Monday hearings, and that was the real meat and potatoes. That was the day Professor Levy was actually on the stand giving testimony.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting things happened. If you're a legal nerd at all, there were a few pretrial issues that had to be taken care of first. Apparently, Professor Levy's lawyer had requested certain communications between the governor and the president of the school.
Okay.
Or the board of superintendents or supervisors or what have you. And they did that through the discovery process. You subpoena those records, right? Kind of like you subpoena a person to testify, but you subpoena records.
Right.
Governor's office objected to that. And they said, there's a procedure you have to follow if you're subpoenaing the governor to come testify. And the judge says, well, wait a second. We're not asking the man to come down and testify. We're asking for some documents to be produced.
Mm-hmm.
So you're overruled and you have to produce the documents. And the judge gave them 20 minutes to produce them.
Ooh.
That's a bit of a statement move.
Yeah.
Is what that is. So they recessed for a minute while they ran and got the documents, came back. There were some other exceptions filed by the school, both of which were denied. And it was just, they were kind of off to the races at that point.
Okay, when they're off to the races at that point, how was that? Well, you know what? We got a minute and a half until news, and I don't want to get you started and have you stop again.
Please don't pull my chain.
Yeah. So no, because there's a lot to cover, and we are just getting started.
Sure.
There's other questions surrounding this though, and I think it's going to lead to a bigger question, and that is about checks and balances.
Right.
Which we'll get to that on the back end as well.
Exactly.
But I just wanted to toss that out there as a tease.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything that transpired the way it transpired makes it feel like you're going to be shocked when I say this, makes it feel like there are no checks and balances on the legal side.
Mm,
Those who want to
there are.
check the legal side can't do so. And this just proved it. It said we're trying, but it's going to be shot down. As we go through the conversation, you'll see where I'm going with that.
Sure.
Before we get to the break, though, got to remind you about. Whoop, see, it would be nice if I had my papers in order, and I don't.
Got a lot of papers.
Oh, kill that, please. Turn that off. No. It's selector 2. Kill select. No. On the board. All right. Well, instead of me teasing car payments for a year, we had that instead. Go to talk1073.com to register courtesy of Citizens Bank and Trust. Here's ABC News. Damn it. All right. We're going. Moving from ABC News to our local news as we're getting that all squared away real quick. Now I get the chance to remind you, Talk 1073 and Citizens Bank and Trust want to help cover your car payments. It's a $5,000 grand prize, but there's also a bonus chance to win free car washes from Benny's Car Wash for 6 months. We're also letting you earn extra entries by subscribing to our Talk 1073 Baton Rouge YouTube channel. To sign up, visit talk1073.com. We're good to go? All right. Okay. And no, Troy, nobody's getting fired. They don't miss an opportunity to pounce.
Well, the torches and pitchforks are coming.
It didn't matter at that point. I was out the door.
You live in Terra, right?
Tara.
You got here fast.
I was flying down government this morning, y'all. I'm like, oh wait.
Dang. Okay. See, I love coming in here because it's the one time Nicholson is empty.
Yeah.
It's the only time Nicholson
I get the
is
same response on Thursdays when Haggai's here.
Yeah.
He's River Bend.
Okay, yeah. He's closer than I am.
What WBRZ's weather? Do you have it?
Yeah, he's closer than I am. I could throw a rock to Iberville Parish from my house, basically.
Okay.
Well, no, not really. I
Okay.
don't have that kind of arm.
Don't sweat it. I'll hint. Just come to me for weather. Do you see a weather bump?
Yeah. Oh, it's in the log already.
Okay.
No, I do not see it. They have WBRZ weather. It's just not a bump. I'll fade it out.
Okay.
I hope it's an opener with it. And that's just what I'm talking. No, I see about the bed.
Okay.
Y'all.
All right, let's go ahead and get a look at that forecast real quick. Here is what we've got going on today. Short answer is rain. Longer answer is it's going to be this afternoon into this evening. Our rain today should start around, well, depending on where you are, start around noon, but really ramp up by about 3 p.m. Going to stay heavy with the thunderstorms through about 6 p.m., maybe 5 to 6 p.m., where we're going to be in the thick of it. We are looking at not just rain, but winds around 20 miles per hour, 15 to 20 miles per hour as well. So it's going to be a pretty nasty storm until about 6. Then it'll peel back to a little lazier rain that's going to stick around 50 to 60% of the area until about 10 p.m. and then clear out. Now, with that rain comes cooler temperatures, where today's high is 80, tonight's low is 47. Tomorrow we'll top out at 61. Friday we'll top out at 62. Get a load of this for the weekend. Opening weekend for LSU baseball, by the way. Friday's high is 62. Saturday's high is 83. Sunday's high is 54. It's like the Super Bowl of weather forecasts. Right now, we're cloudy and 64 in downtown Baton Rouge. Why can I not hear that? Everything else is coming through.
Down there.
No, everything. We're at 640 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Legally served. Richard Sprinkle in the house this morning. He was there live and in person for the hearings for Ken Levy, and was about to start the full explanation of how things played out the way they played out. So let's dive back in.
So, okay, to be clear, I was there for the first day. Unfortunately, couldn't make it the second.
Yes.
I do have to work once in a while. But on Monday, like I said, they had some preliminary issues. The governor lost his motion to quash the subpoena ducis tecum. LSU lost an exception on grounds of prematurity and on grounds of improper accumulation and lots of other legal nerdy stuff that I'm happy to talk about, but most of your listeners probably don't care.
Well, no, that's the purpose of the segment.
Okay, cool.
Because that's how it plays
cool.
out. This is how the law applies to our daily lives.
Right. So when whenever a lawsuit's filed, one of the first things the defense can do is file exceptions to the lawsuit. Those exceptions can be things that slow down the process, things that try to kill the suit entirely, a variety of things. LSU filed a dilatory exception, in other words, trying to slow down the process, saying this was all premature, that Professor Levy had a grievance procedure he could use through the school's processes to deal with the issues at hand, and the bottom line is that was litigated back and forth. And because the school didn't actually follow a laid out policy, then the grievance procedure actually didn't apply in the first place, number one. And number two, well, the judge ultimately decided that, you know, he's got a right to bring the suit either way, whether
Mhm.
you guys have these processes or not. This is America. You can sue anybody for anything you want.
Mhm.
So he's got a right to bring the suit. So for those reasons, the school was denied on the prematurity exception. The other one for improper accumulation, I'm still not sure what the school was pulling with that. Honestly, it didn't seem like this was multiple issues that were improperly brought together before the same court,
Right.
which is what a improper accumulation is. It didn't seem like there were multiple issues. It seemed like there was only one issue on the table.
It feels well because is it because it spilled over from his issue was talking about a previous issue that this professor was talking about a previous professor?
No. I mean, that's obviously two separate issues, but they weren't the two issues that were before the court at all. The issue for the previous professor, to my knowledge, isn't a legal issue that's pending before the court at all, period. Like, I don't think there's a lawsuit filed on that. Now, I could be wrong, but nobody was trying to bring those two into one lawsuit. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what accumulation means when you're trying to bring two suits into one.
Now, putting this professor back in the classroom, see, I'm in a weird spot because he probably belongs back in the classroom. I don't disagree with the scenario,
right?
But there's a bigger picture question to be answered here, and I don't know that it's a legal question either. But the reason this whole complaint started has nothing to do with him teaching law and everything to do with his political opinion being interjected into, and telling his students, literally telling his students, you need my political opinions. And the Socratic wonder behind F that or F him. There's a bigger picture question to be asked here, and that's about how would one go about, if you're the student in the first place, how do you air your grievance the right way?
Oh, there could have been a number of ways. The student could have actually talked to the professor. The student could have talked to
okay, let's
other
dispense
professors.
with that one because we know that's a non-starter.
He absolutely could. Oh. He absolutely could. He could have talked to the professor. He could have talked to other professors. He could have talked to any number of people. The student could talk to the professor with other students present if he's worried about, redress or retaliation or anything like that. There's a million ways it could have happened, as opposed to just what actually happened was, well, this is all hearsay, but the student told somebody, a parent, an uncle, somebody who then forwarded it on straight to LSU Board of Supervisors. Like, it never went through the school. It went to the Board of Supervisors and came backwards.
Okay.
Right. That's what I'm understanding. So an assistant dean talked to Professor Levy and said, hey, the dean's going to want to come talk to you the following day. So that happened. And the dean came and talked to him the following day. And he was from what I understand, the dean basically told him, look, we know who you are. We know what you're all about. Just tone it down a little bit. And the next thing you know, he gets a letter from basically LSU's HR saying you are relieved of your teaching duties, effective immediately. There was no hearing, no discussion, nothing. It just happened that fast. So that's where you get in kind of a due process violation. And it all does go back to freedom of speech. It really does. I mean, listen, in the 1700s, we got really irritated with a guy by the name of George, right?
Yeah.
Threw him and his cronies out.
Yeah.
And part of the problem was you couldn't speak out against your leadership, right?
Right.
Without reprisal.
Yeah.
And the reprisal was pretty rough.
There's a second part of this too, though, because now the student can't speak out against his leadership, meaning the person in front of the classroom.
Student did.
And he did.
He raised his issues.
He did, and it got nowhere.
Well, no, it got somewhere. It got somewhere.
It got right back to the point where it started. As of tomorrow.
So, okay. So what do we have now? We have a student who disagrees with a professor. Wham! How many professors did I disagree with? How many professors did you disagree with?
Many. And I knew better. I knew better than to speak up.
Oh,
I know you got to go along and get along because they're the ones in charge.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we need to challenge authority. Maybe we need to speak up. Maybe we need to push the issues.
Now you're here where I'm at.
Right.
Now you and I are in the same place because if more people speak up, are we going to see the same result every time? Because every time, if you shoot at the king, you don't miss.
I don't know.
This kid shot at the king and missed.
Well, here's the thing that a lot of people don't get, because frankly, unless you were there in the classroom that day, or unless you heard the audio recording, which was entered into evidence, but nobody got
I
to
want to
hear
talk
the
about
whole
that on the
thing.
back end.
Unless you know the context, you don't really know what you're talking about.
All right. Two parts of this we still got to talk about: the audio recording and the attorney that got teed up and ejected from the game. That's coming up after this break on Talk 107.3.
Oh, we have got to.
Okay, good. Yes.
Oh, we have got to get. That's the most rookie, stupid move I've ever seen in my life.
As a bystander, as someone who did not go to law school,
Yeah. What happened?
I can sit from the sidelines and say, "Oh, bro, come on."
Yeah.
I could say I've watched enough Boston Legal to know my way around that one.
If I said you are now subject to the rule of sequestration, you may or may not know what I mean, right? But if after that I say what that means is you're all going out in the hall, you can talk about anything you want except this case. Is that kind of simple instruction?
Yeah.
Well, that's the instruction that was given by Judge Tarvold Smith.
Yeah.
And what did this guy do?
He talked to the people he was
supposed
supposed to talk to.
People about the case.
So,
it's like at a basketball game when they start chanting, "You can't do that."
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
When the ref tells you to sit down and shut up, you sit down and shut up. You stop talking. You start jabbering.
Yeah,
and that's.
I wish I could have seen it because this was going to be one of LSU's witnesses apparently, and he's an attorney for LSU, which is interesting that we're making an attorney a witness. But me still trying to put all this together on the back end is just
the witness was the dean of the law school.
No, that was a witness, but this. Okay. So the dean is
during the 2-day hearing. Smith tossed out one of LSU's lawyers after he acknowledged having discussed the case with LSU Law School Dean Alina Allen.
I thought they were calling that lawyer as a witness, but apparently he
was subpoenaed as a witness.
Yeah. See, so he was observing and being a witness. So he shouldn't have been in the courtroom observing. Number one, Tarvold called him out for that.
Right.
If you're going to be a witness, you got to be out. So that was dumb. He shouldn't have been in the room at all.
The dean.
No. Well, the dean was out of the room, right?
So he talked to more than one witness.
He was a witness. Yeah, and he said, well, what it was, he's talking to another student. He's talking to another student or talking to the dean about a recording a student made while talking to the dean, which could be potential evidence, which could alter people's testimony when they go in to testify. You just don't talk about the damn case, right? You don't talk about the case. First rule about the case, you don't talk about the case when you're a witness, right. Period. So you just can't do that.
And it eventually, at the end of the day, and bigger questions aside, right. I'm still gonna have the bigger questions.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, how much is this? The students trying to worm their way out of work?
I don't know if it is that. I've been trying to piece this together. I don't know the student that made this accusation. I don't know who they are, but I do know this. I was a lot older when I went through law school. A lot of the folks in law school go to high school, go straight to college, go straight to law school. They don't even have real jobs in between, right? So there may or may not be a certain level of maturity that hasn't developed, as far as emotional maturity as in conjunction with dealing with the world. And I'm not saying this is the case with this individual. I'm just saying it's possible because there's a number of folks that go that route. High school.
Holy
college,
crap, we're long. I know. All right, come back straight to us then with the bumper after this. We can skip your money now. We got to hit it the next 2 times, though. This is the buffer we have.
I can hang around a minute if you need. I'm going nowhere today.
Oh, 7. Well, no, I'm good.
All right.
We're actually going to have like a bonus minute, like a minute longer in the segment. Because
I'll find a way to fill that.
No, there will not be a problem.
We'll never get done. Let's put it that way.
All right, we're 651 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Legally served, rolling right along. Richard Sprinkle in for Franz Borghardt, on loan from the Longman Jackie Back Law Firm. And we appreciate them for farming you out today to let you put up with my nonsense.
I go where I'm needed.
We have at least two more things to cover, and we've got 8 minutes to do it. So here we go.
All right.
Per WBRZ's reporting, during the course of the 2-day hearing, Smith tossed out one of LSU's lawyers after he acknowledged having discussed the case with LSU Law School Dean Elena Allen, who was a subpoenaed witness and was not allowed to get information about what was happening in court. And my question about this is, like, even as someone who didn't go to law school, there are certain things that you could see and they seem obvious.
Right.
If you're not allowed to talk to a witness, why would they talk to a witness? Was this something that they didn't know they were called as a witness? Is there a procedure there where the lawyer would have a chance to talk to the dean of the school before they were called and things got crossed? Or was this just a bonehead move?
So there's a reason they put, directions on suppositories not to be taken orally. Some people just don't get simple instructions. This is a simple thing. You've got a witness and you've got an attorney who is, I believe, was on the subpoena list to be called as a witness.
Mm-hmm.
Makes him a witness too. The judge gives simple instructions at the start of the case. He brings all the witnesses forward all at once online, have them raise their hands, swear them in, and advises them all that you are now under sequestration, which means you all have to go out in the hallway. You can't be in here to watch what's going on. You only get to come in when you're called as a witness, and you cannot discuss the case, period. Right. You can talk about anything you want, Super Bowl, weather, traffic, whatever you want, but not the case. And what did he do?
See, what bothers me about this is, like, everything about this scenario doesn't look good for LSU's law school.
It does not.
On both sides. Because on the one side, you've got the LSU lawyer who talked to a witness they weren't supposed to. You've got the dean of the LSU law school talking right back. Because both of those parties involved should have known this conversation shouldn't have happened.
I know. But now, okay, so in fairness to LSU law, that lawyer works for LSU, not directly the law school. So
that's fair. That's fair.
Okay,
that's fair.
He may.
I might
LSU,
be being a little presumptive to
assume
he's an LSU
yeah,
product.
but to assume they're both lawyers is pretty good. Now, also, the dean of LSU law, she may have a law license from somewhere, but she's not allowed to practice in the state of Louisiana while she's the dean. So she might be a little out of practice on some of the rules. I don't know. I'm just being in all fairness.
That's fine. But like the Farmers Insurance commercial, you know a thing or two because you've seen a thing or two.
Yeah.
One would hope that would be on the application.
One would hope.
And then on the flip side of this, everything was screwed up procedurally. That doesn't look good.
That did not look
good.
And
I'm going to get back to it again. I can't imagine a scenario where I would want a lawyer's closing argument to be F that guy. I would hope for, like I said earlier, a little bit more Socratic practice right there. Then that's not the best form of the argument. And that's what they're getting in class.
Well,
is bleep him.
Well, that wasn't all argument. That was if you had heard the context of what's going on, that was basically the professor introducing himself to the students, basically showing them what a wild card he was. If you heard it in context, you would hear a very joking manner in all of those things said. Now, listen, what should they have been said? I don't know. If you ask the professor right now, should you have done all that? He'd probably go, but I probably wouldn't do it again. You
think?
Yeah.
If I'm that professor, I am 100% emboldened right now.
I know the man, and I can assure you he's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
That's the best part to hear about the whole thing.
Well, and I assure you
that is the best part to hear about the whole thing. Because
is he going to speak his mind? He's always going to speak his mind. Might he tone it down in the future? Maybe he will. I don't know. This has been a very uncomfortable process for him. You understand?
I got two more questions on this one. We talked about the lawyer being tossed. Were any students called to testify?
There were students that were lined up on his side of the ball to testify, and they should have testified yesterday. I don't know if they all got called. The only testimony I really read about was the president of the school and the dean, and I don't know if the students got called up or not. I really don't. Now, I do know they went late yesterday. The Reveille, believe it or not, was the first news outlet to post the story on it, and that came in pretty late yesterday evening, as far as I know, probably after 7:30ish or something like that.
Yeah.
But so it leads me to believe they ran long. I know when I drove past the courthouse on the way home, the cameras were all sitting up outside, still waiting for me to come walking out.
Yeah. Okay. Last two things on this one before we can close up shop. We've only got about 2.5 minutes to do it. And this is not a legal thing at all, but the student who filed the original grievance with the professor.
Sure.
When this professor's back in class tomorrow, that student's in that class, I assume.
Unless they drop it.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
You've attended law school. Would you drop this class?
Well, okay, so it's first year class. It's ACJ, Administration of Criminal Justice, also known as Fourth, Fifth, and Sixth Amendments. They may be able to get slotted over to another class, but the way law school worked when I went, your first year was your schedule was laid out. You were divvied up into sections, much like Hogwarts, and you had section 1, section 2, section 3, and we all went to the same classes together at the same time, like a little unit.
Mhm.
I don't know why they did it that way, but it did make a nice little cohesive group. I don't know if this student's gonna be able to get switched around. I don't know how that's gonna work. I don't know. Maybe everybody just lets bygones be bygones, and we study the Fourth, Fifth, and Sixth Amendment.
Well, if that's how it started, then we probably wouldn't be here.
Well, no kidding. Maybe that's what we need to do now. Is just agree to disagree about politics and study the law.
Yeah, that would be nice. Last one, and this is probably the most serious question of the day, is after the way this played out and this ruling, does Jill Kraft get walk-up music for every time she's in a courtroom now on?
Oh, man. I mean, the Rocky theme, at least.
I would be requesting.
So, listen, I had never seen her practice before in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I had also never seen Mr. Faircloth practice, the attorney for LSU practice before in my life. But I can say that it appeared from the gallery to be a knockout on the first day.
Behind the scenes, this might get you in trouble. How much trash talking goes on?
Like
after it's all over with? I mean, do the attorneys get together and like talk smack?
Oh gosh, the postmortem is insane. I mean,
why does that warm my heart?
Well,
if there's gonna be trash talk going on after the fact, like that makes me happy.
Human emotion just coming out. That's all.
That's
I know,
all it is. But that's at the end of the day. Like if we can break each other's, then
my paralegal one time gave me a present. It was a coffee mug that said opposing counsel's tears on it. And so I mean, there's always trash talking going on.
So good. I don't know. I'm not a petty guy, but like, why would you laugh at that?
I know, Brian. I know you well.
I'm not a petty guy, but really uncalled for. Really uncalled for.
I feel like if you have to explain that more than once, maybe you are.
How welcome. If she walks in 25 minutes late, she's going to crack on me.
I know, right? I know. We're making the best out of an awkward situation.
Try this one more time. I'm not a petty guy, but when it's mano a mano and you can go back and forth and then just let it drop because it's good nature.
Now, wait, are we talking about, is there trash talking between those two lawyers who were?
Yes.
No. I've never experienced that. Because frankly, somebody comes out of their butt hurt, whether they believe they do or they don't.
All right.
And it takes a little while before you want to talk to that other person.
He's Richard Sprinkle. We do Legally Served at this time every Wednesday. Always appreciate the time, brother. Here's news. That was good.
Are you talking about checks and balances? That was the whole purpose behind having the court hearings.
News. Yeah, selector one. You what?
The court hearings were the checks and balances.
Yeah. So kill the mics. I'm not a big fan of Charles Smith. No.
He was calling balls and strikes, though. I mean, he was. I mean, yeah, I'm happy that he called them all in my guy's favor.
Right.
But I mean, he was calling balls.
And so if I'm being completely honest, because of Tarval Smith, I'm more on the other side of this one because like he's just, and I'm not remembering what cases or what things were in front of him that he has a track record for. But as soon as I heard his name, I was like, okay, this is over with. This is all just an act.
So one of the things I found interesting, and I don't care if the mic's on or not, but LSU's lawyer, Jimmy Faircloth, he argued that exception of prematurity, and in that argument, he kept talking about he could use the grievance program. He could use we shouldn't even be here. This should be over there. We could be using the grievance program. That gets shot down before the thing even starts, right? Well, during him eliciting testimony through Levy through cross-examination, he basically keeps coming up. Why didn't you just use the grievance program? You should have used the grievance program. Now, listen, on cross-examination, a lawyer is testifying, right? You're not asking that witness questions. You already know the answers. So you're testifying and getting the witness to corroborate your testimony. That's what cross-examination really is.
Hey,
And
question.
this guy was just digging himself a hole.
This came straight down from the board.
Yeah.
I gotta ask. Oh, we're still hot apparently on Facebook.
Awesome.
Okay. Hey, yeah. So I'd asked you to kill the mics.
No, I did. I killed him.
Like off. Seven oh five. Oh, we're done. Just close up shop. 7:05 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Bree Lynn producing. We got a busy second hour. We're going to talk about that death penalty story a little bit, but we've got so much to cover news wise in the 7:35 segment. 7:15 where we talk with Metro Councilwoman Jen Racca. Gotta walk down this path about rededicating of funds or undedicating of funds or just taking everything and putting in a big Christmas account. That's all coming up later on. Right now, top stories and trending. A state court judge ruled late Tuesday that LSU must allow law professor Ken Levy to return to teaching. Levy said he would be back in class on Thursday. As you heard, if you listened to the last half hour, you heard nothing but that on our Legally Served segment. Bus drivers with the Student First met with Amalgamated Transit Union to take action for safer and more sanitary work environments as they enter the early stages of contract negotiations. There was a protest before negotiations got started. Then negotiations did get started. They also included talks over pay. Those negotiations are expected to continue over the next couple days. Varsity Sports founder and owner Jenny Peters is reimagining the grassroots plan that she launched last year to align with what she believes is a new vision for the city. Envision Baton Rouge is a collaborative initiative where locals can share ideas and visions for improving the city's parks and walking paths. It's the focus of this is Perkins Road Underpass, Brooks Park, and City Park. As a programming note, Jenny's going to be with us tomorrow at 7:15 to talk about it. Mayor President Sid Edwards and other city parish officials yesterday announced a pair of new anti-crime initiatives that they say will make East Baton Rouge Parish safer. The first is the implementation of a law passed last year that would allow retired police officers to return to part-time duty while preserving their retirement benefits. The second initiative would increase the payouts for Crime Stoppers tips submitted in the first 48 hours after a crime. A man was arrested for murder after allegedly killing one person and injuring another on North 15th Street, according to BRPD. 39-year-old Brandon Robinson was booked for first-degree murder, allegedly killing Taisha Branagh, 30 years old, in a shooting. Another man was injured. Police said that he was recovering on January 16th. Branagh worked at Mother's Lounge on 3rd Street in Baton Rouge. All right, Breland, what's trending this morning?
Well, this one breaks my heart. Add Trader Joe's to the list of stores limiting the purchase of eggs while supply is scarce due to the bird flu.
Yeah, it's Trump's fault. It's Biden's fault.
It's everybody's fault.
It's Trump's fault. It's Biden's fault. No. It's the bird flu. Sometimes
Right.
the world happens and you have to put your politics on the shelf, but
I went to Sam's 2 weeks ago. I needed eggs. I didn't want to hoard the eggs, but you couldn't find them, of course.
Right.
About 2 weeks ago.
At Sam's?
At Sam's.
Wow.
I know.
Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain going to join us tomorrow at 8:15. I want to talk about what that impact is here in Louisiana versus let me ask the question this way when Dr. Strain comes in. Can we isolate ourselves from this? How bad is it?
I would be curious to know. Yep. The FBI has discovered about 2,400 new records related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy from a new record search following an executive order from President Donald Trump.
Get ready. This is going to be the topic of conversation for me on a seemingly daily basis. If there is a conspiracy out there that I believe in, it's 100% behind this. I believe in this more than I believe in aliens.
It's all going to come out.
I know.
Yep.
I know. And you know what? Okay. If history has taught us anything, if something bad happens in America, there's going to be a Louisiana tie to it. There's no way this doesn't go across the finish line without coming back to New Orleans and coming back to the North Shore, probably right near Lacombe. This is going to be this is going to come home very, very fast. So, and I'm here for the ride.
I know. For the tea, happier news. Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom is back to normal operations after a power outage caused numerous rides to close Monday evening.
Yeah. So
I didn't know about that.
They didn't disclose why the power outage occurred. They didn't talk about that. But here's from the story. The cause of the power outage is not being disclosed, but at one point on Monday evening, 18 rides were shown as closed on the My Disney Experience app. That's nearly half the attractions offered at the resort's most visited park.
So, Brian, were people on the ride and it just decided to shut down? Imagine being in midair, or was it after closing hours? Who knows?
So anyone who was on a ride when it went down was safely escorted off, and the park's after-hours event of the fireworks went on as planned.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. See, you thought you were kidding around, but that was real.
Right. Imagine walking down off of a ride. Okay.
Yep. We're coming up on 7-11 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Before we take our break, going to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's. They are your headquarters all carnival season long. I've been telling you every day, if you've not yet brought a king cake in the office, shame on you. It is your turn, and everybody's going to say, oh, just a little piece, I'll be bad. Yes, bring a king cake into the office. They've got you covered. Whether you like it traditional, whether you like it filled, whether you like the fancy ones like Wedding Cake and Cookie Monster, they've got you covered, especially over at the Nicholson location. The display over there is phenomenal. Now, your king cakes are good to go. How about catering? If you've got a Mardi Gras ball that you're still attending, they've got you covered there as well. Matherns.com, you're going to find over 50 different catering trays to choose from. So, yeah, while the table next to you's got some simple finger sandwiches, bring some boudin balls, bring some chicken strips, bring some fried catfish. They've got you covered there. Fast forward to parade night. You're out on the route. You're downtown Baton Rouge. They're right there on 3rd Street. And go a step further. The back door is right there on 4th and Main, which is where Orion and Artemis turn. Mathern's has got you covered all carnival season long. Quick break. Metro Councilwoman Jen Racca is next. Is that coming on a stack or hotkey? Okay. Because I got to fix that. 716 Talk 1073 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. So the news is that Mayor President Sid Edwards wants to burn all the libraries to the ground. Nope, that's not the real news. The real news is he wants to undedicate library funds and make them available for other things. Maybe take some of the things that we want and turn them into some of the things that we need. That's a little bit editorial on my end. I've been very clear about my opinion on this. But let's talk about what it takes to get it done, whether or not we should get it done, and the likelihood that it does get done. Metro Councilwoman Jen Racca in the house. How are you?
I'm great.
Oh, there
Closer.
you go. There you go.
I'm great.
Glad to have you in this morning. All right. I want to start with, you know what? Let me just open up the floor to you because you said you were going to start from a little bit of a historical perspective.
Yep. And just to segue in, so I believe that what we've been seeing in newspapers and in articles has been a gross oversimplification of what is actually happening.
Mhm.
So we're going to get into that. I just need some time. It's going to be a little bit of work to explain everything that's going on.
Okay.
But to start, let's start with the history.
Let's get right up on it.
Okay. You had me on the show in December at some point, and we talked about Entergy. Remember the franchise agreements?
Yep.
Councilman Cleve Dunn and I were actively pursuing other funding because we had cuts to our budget. Remember that?
Yes.
So at that time, the former mayor had called us in and talked about cuts. And I think that my council members and I do a really good job of listening, but some of us are able to hear what they're not saying. And at that time, Cleve and I had corresponded, had communication. We heard what they weren't saying. And what they weren't saying was, it's basically an election season where these are the initial cuts, but we have more coming. And but we have more coming were things that we picked up on pretty quickly. I shared with some of my council members. Some of them disagreed with me, adamantly disagreed, said, no way, no more cuts are coming. Others agreed that we were going to see some significant cuts to our budget in the first or second quarter. Okay. So at that time, Councilman Dunn and I started working, and we started calling all of the folks that had dedicated taxes, Council on Aging, mosquito abatement, the library. We took our diversity and talked to the people that we knew on both sides and approached them and said, hey, we believe there's a rededication of taxes that are coming. We have some serious budget pitfalls that are coming. We're going to have major cuts that are coming. How can you help us?
Okay.
Those conversations fell short. They became stagnant. We had to move on and have conversations on different items and on different subjects, because believe me, the city business does not end.
Right.
So the new mayor comes in. These guys are working hard to try to get the budget where it needs to be. And I believe that they uncover that we have some major budgeting issues. Okay. And so then we have this plan that is introduced to the council at a very late hour. And then a news release that comes out that says, we need the rededication of taxes. And the library has an excess of $100 million. Let's look at them and see what that looks like. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, with that being said, we have two houses right now. We have folks that say, do not take our library dollars. Do not take those dollars. Do not defund the library to fund the police.
Mhm.
That is an oversimplification. And it is my understanding and appreciation that the mayor never intends to not fund the library.
He was on yesterday. He said specifically, I want the best funded libraries in the state.
Correct. What they're doing is taking those dollars that are in excess of what it costs to run a library.
Yep.
And they're moving those dollars in the general fund. They came out and said, we're going to increase police salaries. But what wasn't said was initially in those articles is that they're going to fund our budget to where we don't have 20% decrease in city services and employees in the next quarter or the next quarter.
Mhm.
So basically what was going to happen is they're going to move these funds. They're going to keep the libraries funded. They're going to keep librarians paid at the same rate of pay that they're having currently. They got a raise in 2023. Those things are going to be completely funded. They're still going to move forward. We may not see new libraries in the next 5 years, but what we will not see, according to what I've been told, are major cuts within the city parish, within the budget.
Wait. I'm sorry. You said we may not see new libraries in the next 5 years.
Yeah. So
do we need new libraries in the next 5 years? Goodwood is gorgeous.
I like to come armed with facts.
Go for it.
Okay. So basically, we have all of these libraries that are built. The South Branch, but near Ruzan, has
Mhm.
been built. These libraries will, I think there's 14 different branches in all different districts. They will be fine. They will be maintained. When we're talking about millage, I also like to talk about what that looks like for folks that have homes and pay the property
Mhm.
taxes. At $200,000, you pay approximately $131 a year, $2.52 per week. Okay. That's a $200,000 home. When you're looking at homes valued at $300,000, you pay $236 a year. That's $4.54 per week. But in my district, District 12, the district that has very high property values, we have homes all up and down Highland Road. We
Mhm.
have houses that on average, I rarely see a home listed for under $400,000. And whenever you're looking at those numbers, you're looking at $400,000 homes, that's $260. If you're looking at people that are my neighbors, people that I see regularly up and down Highland Road in the neighborhoods off of them, you're getting closer to your $500,000, $600,000, and that's $400 a year.
Mhm.
Whenever you're breaking that down, that may not seem like much, and they simplify it and put it into coffee terms, how many coffees that costs you. And I've had a lot of people say, just do a new millage, Jen. Just put a new millage on. Here's the problem that folks don't understand. When you have that young couple that's buying their first home here in Baton Rouge because they have their first good engineering job or they have their first teaching gig, and they get on, think about when you were young. You're looking at these houses, you go online, you look at that property, that mortgage calculator.
Yep.
And you're deciding exactly what you're going to owe each month on that home. And you have that monthly note and you say, you know what? Me and my honey can afford this house. We can do it. Let's go. Let's get that real estate agent. Let's go look at it. Then you get in front of your lender and your lender says, hold on. You haven't calculated your property tax yet. Hold on. You haven't calculated your property insurance yet. All those things have to be placed in escrow. And your monthly note that you thought was going to be $1,500 is now $2,300 a month.
Yeah.
And they look at each other and say, oh, whoa, we can't afford this house in Baton Rouge. We can't afford any house in Baton
Well,
Rouge.
welcome to Ascension Parish.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
And we talk about keeping folks here. So what does this look like moving forward? What does changing the millages, rededication of the millages, what does that look like for everyone in Baton Rouge, outside of Baton Rouge? It looks scary.
Yeah.
It looks incredibly scary. If this doesn't happen, then what?
Right.
If this doesn't happen, then are taxpayers okay with the major cuts to city services? Are you okay with our permitting department being paralyzed again because we cannot afford the 20% cuts that we're going to face? Are you okay with the city services that are already strained, the DPW, the public works, this drainage and sewage maintenance? Are you okay with all of those things being cut again? And that is the question that the council is asking. We're not asking to defund the library. We're asking to put this on the ballot so that all of our taxpayers, all of our constituents in our base can make that decision for themselves. Because if you're okay with it and the library is what is important to you and those other things are less important, then go ahead and punch that ticket however you choose. But if it's not, then you have to have these conversations, and these conversations are going to be had from March of this year until October when the ballot comes. And it's going to be up to my constituents, everyone is going to educate themselves. Please do not make this like the plan of government where you say, I can't find it online, or it's too long to read. I don't understand it, so I'm just going to vote no. We have to be informed. Our people have to be informed. They have to take some personal responsibility and understand what this looks like for them moving forward.
Okay, so being informed, it takes a lot.
It does.
And because you have to get unbiased information from the source.
Correct.
And that proves difficult because right now we have, on the one hand, we're being told that there's $114 million surplus. And on the other hand, we're told there's no surplus at all. Like, there's a middle ground here somewhere where I'm sure there's dollars floating around. Now, that being said, I, as a voter, I didn't particularly. I'm not saying whether or not I voted for one or the other, but voters put those dollars in the coffers that they're at.
Correct.
What does it take to undo that?
So that takes a bond attorney with a whole lot of knowledge with regards to bonds, ballots, and all those types of things that surround timing, to tell us exactly what that looks like. And I
Mhm.
spoke to him last night very briefly, and that's where it gets incredibly complicated. And so there has to be the bond attorney drafted an ordinance of what that looks like. That ordinance then gets put on a council agenda. There's timing, there's advertising, there's requirements for how long it has to be before it goes on the ballot. All those conversations have to be had. Here's another piece, and I think you'll find this incredibly interesting. So I was told that the city's bond rating, because the city of St. George has now become a city and is moving forward, the city's bond rating has drastically decreased
Mhm.
by hundreds of millions. And because of that, because of all the other things that are happening, if we were in a federal consent decree currently by the federal government that said you got to build a new parish prison or a new juvenile detention center,
Which we need, by the way.
we would be unable to do so.
Okay.
This increases our bond rating.
Yeah.
It moves it back. Are there other options? There are. Council members are talking about them. I had a discussion with Cleve Dunn last night to try to explore what these other options may look like. Here's the other piece that I think people have to understand. We're in a position currently to where we have changes coming whether we want them or not. Changes are coming whether we're ready for them or not. This is an effort to try to minimize the impact on our constituents. Does this mean that libraries are shut down or people are laid off at the library? No, it doesn't. What it does mean, though, is if we need change, again, if we want our library systems to be funded again with the millage, this can be done again. This can go back on the ballot in the future. This is not a permanent change. Nothing is permanent here.
Well, and that's the thing. If everything gets undedicated and goes into one pool, you address need as need arises.
Correct.
And you address want as want arises. It seems like we've painted ourselves in the corner where we go to the polls to vote for things that we want while the things that we need suffer. It's amazing. We have an 11.2 mils on the libraries, but when it comes to the police, where is that on my property tax? It's only coming from the general fund.
So it's a city. That
Right.
is a city type of position. But
But priority wise, and that's where we come to the painted in the corner part. Priority wise, I believe the police are higher than the library. I'm hard pressed to be convinced otherwise.
And look, let's talk about millages again. Whenever you're looking at your property tax bill and you see 11 millages, that if it's a parish wide millage, you're looking at approximately $5.4 million per millage.
Mhm.
So that's the revenue that is coming in from those millages.
I don't want to put you on spot on the air. Are you busy?
No.
Can you stay around for another segment?
Sure.
I'm a bag what we had coming up in the next segment because we're not near done.
Okay.
But we are out of time for this segment. We're coming up on news here at Talk 107.3 FM. So here's what we're gonna do. We'll check ABC News, we'll check our local news, traffic, weather, pick the conversation up on the back end. We got Metro Councilwoman Jen Racca in with us. Gonna stick around till 7:50. Gotta remind you, Coach Kim Mulkey and the LSU basketball Tigers are on the road to face Texas this Sunday, 2 p.m. You'll hear the Tigers all season long on your home for LSU women's basketball. That is Talk 107.3. Here comes ABC News.
This is my personal cell phone. And that's fine.
Not while it's, yeah. 738 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Metro Councilwoman Jen Racca continuing with us right now. I appreciate you sticking around for a couple more minutes. Hey, and I'm glad you did, because this is a bigger topic than we're going to get to in this segment either. This is one that is going to involve a lot of discussion moving forward. But staying on topic, what's going to go down the night with the Metro Council? Because I understand preemptively the library is trying to cut their millage back by, I want to say, from 11.2 to 10.5. Is that right?
Correct. So sorry. Whenever these conversations were being held in December, I was approached by someone from the library board talking about increasing the millage.
Mhm.
And that was how it was initially presented to me. And so I advised them, look, I need you to understand how well that is being received by the public right now. Go and look on social media platforms, check out how that was received whenever our district attorney brought the proposal to potentially increase or put a new millage on the ballot. See how people, like, how well that was received with the current state of everything that's going on. And so now, and I don't know what the timing mechanism is there with regard to when the mayor talked to the library, when those conversations about rededication were had, and how we got to today, when they decided to attempt to roll that millage back.
I mean, December to today, you're talking about less than 2 months calendar time.
Correct.
That's quite the 180.
It is. And I'll tell you, I have not spoken to a lot of my council colleagues. We communicate a lot in passing over at City Hall. But I know as of yesterday, the mayor was still meeting with a handful of folks, with a handful of council members, to tell them what the entire plan looked like. Not the thing that the public saw, which is, we're going to fund the police and defund the library, which has become a common theme. That he was talking about the budget in the major sense, what that looked like, how that got unpacked, and what the impact would be on the city short term and long term. He was still having those conversations. In fact, Lori Adams, Brandon Knoll, Aaron Moak, Carolyn Coleman, and Cleve Dunn were all in that meeting yesterday. My meeting was earlier this week, and I was there along with Anthony Kinney. Before that meeting, I saw Daryl Hurst, Tawana Harris, and Dwight Hudson walk out of the meeting before me. So he was as late as or as early as this week. The mayor and his team were in finance. They were all meeting with council people, trying to give us a greater appreciation of what this looks like and what the future looks like for the city.
A couple more we're going to cover. Well, so going back to the undedicating here,
Okay.
overall, we went to the polls last fall, and I'm a huge supporter of Breck. I love Breck so much. I feel like they are good stewards of my dollars, and I know they have their flaws just like every other entity does. Why is the library the only one in the crosshairs right now?
So Breck is controlled partially by the state. CATS has federal funding, state laws that regulate them as well. The ones that are within the scope of city parish are the library, council on aging, and mosquito abatement.
Mm-hmm.
There are overages for all of them. And look, I haven't pulled out my budget book, and we're going to talk later today with some other council members. Go back and look at the page 495 or 498 to see what millages look like, all those sorts of things. But I think mosquito abatement had somewhere between 40 and 60 million. We did look at Breck. They had over $100 million. So maybe it's time to bring them all back to the table and have those conversations. Cleve Dunn and I talked about that last night. Can that be done in this short time frame? And see if folks, after the kindness failed in the initial conversations, maybe they come back and understand what that looks like moving forward. And maybe those conversations, they're more open to see what a voluntary rededication, where we all work together for the betterment of our city as a whole,
Right.
What that looks like. Maybe that's conversations that we have later today. I'm hopeful.
We got Metro Councilwoman Jen Racca in with us, talking about the library and the possible undedication and rededication. I mean, that's it, and that's the long and the short of it, because somehow the hyperbolic nature of politics, it's come around to defunding the library. Is there a way to end that rhetoric? I mean, I don't know how. Like, even while we were talking, you got a message, I got a message saying, well, darn near the same time. Why do we want to take books out of the hands of kids?
We don't. We don't. And look, we don't want to take Libby away from the kids. Kids, if we're talking about generational gaps and looking at modernizing the library, kids love Libby. They can get on Libby. It's an app. They get on it. They have all sorts of devices. It's safe. They put a book on Pete the cat, and Libby reads the book to them with a little bouncy ball that has all the words on it. Libby is amazing. We're not taking any of those things away. Nothing is being taken away besides the excess funds that are in the general fund. And that's if the voters decide.
Okay. I'm having trouble remembering if this was during break or during the last segment. Transparency on the budget to determine how many excess funds there are. How do we get to that?
So it's in our budget books, those wonderful budget books. And
Aaron Moak brought in that budget book right before
Yeah.
y'all voted on it, and the table shook when he put it on. Like, I was worried about the stability of this
Correct.
broadcast table here.
And look, Aaron's done an excellent job of looking at taxes. He's forming a committee to try to see what these things look like. I just think the expediency of the need is there, and these things are going to have to move forward much quicker than we all anticipated.
You have mentioned a couple times about budget cuts in the next quarter and the next quarter. Anything that's going to happen with the library isn't going to happen until October, November, right?
That's correct.
By my math, that gives us 2 quarters before you can even get there. How do we stay afloat until then?
That's a mayor's question, and I know that they have funds that come in, and I don't want to call it a cup game, but I know that there's a person in finance that keeps us afloat, and she keeps things moving. So I'm sure that conversation has to be had with her and with him.
Another thing that the mayor mentioned yesterday was about how this just isn't just about police. Police are one facet of it.
Correct.
You mentioned DPW in the last segment. How underfunded are we there when it comes to not just our infrastructure on the roads, but drainage? God forbid getting Fred Rayford a vacation. I want to send Fred Rayford someplace warm with
too.
drinks with umbrellas and shish kebab. Like, Fred needs about 3 weeks.
He does.
Because we have not yet figured out how to clone him.
I would help fund that.
Yeah, same.
So currently, as it stands, think about this. We have people that we pay $10 an hour, $11 an hour that are operating $1 million, like $4 million worth of equipment.
Right.
And then we get upset whenever we have a lawsuit or something's broken. Those places are currently underfunded, but that is a bigger conversation. So now let's just open all the worms, the can of all the worms. So whenever you have someone that comes and applies for a job at City Parish, their rate of pay is itty bitty.
Mhm.
However, their benefit package is enormous. And we had someone come and talk to us late last year that talked about our retirement. And we had our actuaries there, and they told us our formula is actuarially sound. Great. That's wonderful. Your formula works. However, if you're looking at it, our retirement system is antiquated and it's broken, and it's compounding at a rate that looks like a pyramid scheme that we cannot keep up with. So when we're talking about revamping everything, retirement comes into play. So you want to give somebody more compensation. Let's say we're giving somebody $20 an hour. Well, you can't give them a benefit package that's worth 75% of the income that they're bringing in, and equates to a gross overcompensation on the front end and the back end. So there is a balance. The mayor is aware. Those are all things that they're taking into account. But guys, Rome was not built in a day, and we have tiny little fires that are becoming massive fires that we have to put out. And I think that that's what we're seeing. Are these conversations being had incrementally and not taking into all accounts all the things that are going on? Absolutely not. We're having those conversations. We discussed retirement, compensation, pay, everything whenever I was at my meeting with the mayor. And I feel confident in saying they are very aware because I had those conversations. We had that discussion. So you're also talking about a man that's been in office for less than 2 months.
Yeah.
And these are problems that they're being faced with. So
I would argue that part's actually a good thing. The fact that he's not embedded in how it was.
correct.
Because we saw what it was like when we had someone who was embedded in how it was.
But the complexities that come along with this
Oh, no, yeah,
position,
100%. Yeah, I agree.
it's going to take time to unpack all of this and understand that there are solutions, but solutions are not overnight. And the ones that are, if we have remedies that are overnight remedies, those are the ones that we have to be most afraid of. We need the long-term solutions that we can look at that impact all of our departments. But going back to the cuts, let's talk about that because I think it's very important. We're talking about every department being cut. We're
Yeah.
not talking about just the police. We're talking about what we saw in December when we were looking at the 2025 budget. Every department being cut, everyone being cut. We're talking about impacts to everything under the parish umbrella. This is not piecemeal. This is not just the police. This is not just the library. This is not just DPW. This is everyone. This is a universal cut to the entire budget.
Are we looking at the possibility that this will be the undoing of the consolidated form of government?
I think that that's a conversation we all need to start having. I believe that whenever we're looking at, and I had these conversations in December, how are we cutting constitutional offices? You and I had this discussion.
Oh, yeah.
How are we cutting a constitutional office like the DA's office that services the whole parish? How are we cutting the 19th JDC where they service the entire parish? How are we cutting the coroner's office or whomever is under that entire parish umbrella because the city of Baton Rouge needs funding? And the answer always comes back to me. We're consolidated government. We have general fund dollars. That's how it all works. But whenever I do believe, and I don't want to speak on their behalf, but Baker, Central, Zachary, City of St. George, they're going to start asking these questions and wondering why and how that looks moving forward. And the answer is consolidated government. So there will be people that attempt to explore what it looks like to deconsolidate the government. We've had conversations. I've personally had conversations. Lafayette, I think, explored what that looked like, and there's some pain points there. Maybe there's some teachable moments that we can gather from those folks a little bit further west, but those are conversations we have to have.
Well, because if we don't have painful conversations now about what's existing, we're going to have more painful, even more painful conversations in the future about what we can't sustain.
Correct. And what do the long terms of deconsolidating a government look like? What does that look like for the city of Baton Rouge?
Yep.
What does that look like for District 12? And that's my main, what does it
Well,
look
because
like?
you stretch through all of it.
So I have about 5%, maybe 5 to 10% of City of St. George, but a majority of my district is still within the city limits.
Yep. We'll pick it up at a later time. She is Metro Councilwoman Jen Racca, been very generous with her time this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm going to gift this to you.
Oh, and I'm going to have fun with it. Here's your money now. more than those last two segments right there. She is exceptional. She is impressive. And none of it involved right or left. None of it involved Republican or Democrat. All of it was about the governance of this city. Okay. You're not seeing a Cajun soft wash? Already did Landmark Bank. Got it. All right, I'm gonna do that one here.
A leadership minute with Dave Ramsey from the Entree Leadership Podcast. Hey Joe, what's up? I am one man in a van doing electrical work. I did about 175,000, and out of that, I paid myself 70, and I paid my taxes and things like that. The rest of the money that's left over just sits in the savings account. How much is it? $2,000. Number one, calculate your profits and calculate your taxes as a result of that profit that month. I want you to keep your quarterly estimates separate. You don't want the tax money mixed in with retained earnings. There's money that you're saving for retained earnings in business. Now, retained earnings can be used for buying tools, trucks. Retained earnings can be used to invest in.
I got the flu. Yeah. Yep. Ooh. .756 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Thanks again to Metro Councilwoman Jen Racca. What an unbelievable resource and great 2 segments. They'll be posted on demand at talk1073.com after the show is over with today. I'd encourage you to, if you missed any of it at all or wanted to go back and listen to it again because we covered a lot, it'll be available courtesy of Lake Urgent Care at talk1073.com. All right, moving from the dire news of the city parish budget over to the good news of the education scorecard. We're going to get to that in just a second. But first, got to remind you, it's almost springtime. Spring means spring cleaning. Do me a favor. When you get home, maybe not today because it's going to be raining when you get home today, but when you get home tomorrow, Friday, whatever, give a look at the outside of your house. Give a look at the outside of your house. Do you need a good washing? Because Cajun Soft Wash is here for you. Check them out online at CajunSoftWash.com and wash your house. They do the soft wash on your roof, which actually prolongs and extends the life of your roof because it gets in there and gets rid of the algae and the mildew and everything else that eats away at your shingles. But when it comes to just the exterior of your home, whether you're talking about stucco or brick or whatever, they've got you covered. They'll knock out the sidewalks as well. They get you taken care of, looking better than new with Cajun Soft Wash. And I'm not just talking to homeowners here. They do commercial exteriors as well. Look, the exterior of your business could very well be that first impression that you put forward for people who are interested in doing business with you. You don't want it to be nasty. You don't want that green coming up the side of your building. you need Cajun Soft Wash to take care of it. Check them out online at CajunSoftWash.com. And oh, by the way, when you're on the website, give a look at the drone cleaning. Unbelievably cool technology they've got going on over there. There's no place that can't be reached when you've got a drone. CajunSoftWash.com. All right, keeping it moving. Let's go over to education. Cade Brumley's having himself a year, man. I mean, Dr. Brumley, we had the recent good news about our national report card. Well, following the nation's report card, students are apparently doing well on the education recovery scorecard as well. State Education Superintendent Dr. Cade Brumley says the recovery scorecard measures student achievement since the end of the pandemic. Nope. That's nope. Did the cuts go crazy on you? All right. All right. I tell you what, we'll move right on from it. Dr. Brumley says this is a testament to the hard work that teachers are putting in. He emphasizes that the job's not done. When it came to the nation's report card, we're 32nd, highest we've ever been. And it's really interesting when you look at from the time Dr. Brumley got on the gig, he was like his first 2 to 3 years were nothing but COVID and hurricanes. The rest of the nation dealt with COVID. We dealt with, you remember 2020 and 2021? I mean, we had to deal with schools being shut down, kids being displaced. Aside, as other folks are getting back into the classrooms, other folks are getting on the back heels of the pandemic. We had schools that were just uninhabitable at the time. So when you talk about the ramp up and the work being done, very, very commendable. 8:00, here's news. 806 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, Kate Wasan producing. We got a busy third hour, y'all. We're talking with the Queen and the Bell. They got a lot going on. Obviously, construction going on at the Bell. And, the Queen's been firing on all cylinders. A lot going on with upcoming Valentine's Day. Want to maybe even look ahead to, you know what? I want to actually look back on how it was Super Bowl Sunday over at the Queen. With the sports book and everything. We'll talk about that a little bit. Bruce Woods, general manager of the Queen, and Richard Cannon, general manager of the Bell, going to join us in our next segment. 8:35, Congresswoman Julia Letlow is going to be on the hotline. A little DC Current presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Before we get you to this day in history, got to remind you about the folks over at Vex European and VexEuropean.com. Need to go see Vinny and his team real soon because I am due for an oil change. And Vex European is where I have that taken care of, because any service that my car needs, I go to Vex European. The same way that anything that you would need medically, you go to your doctor. Yeah. The technician that works on my car, follows my car, knows my car inside and out. Hop on VexEuropean.com, hit that little drop-down menu by where it says vehicles, and see if your vehicle's on there. If you drive an Audi, if you drive a Bentley, if you drive a Mercedes or a Porsche or a Jaguar or a Land Rover, they've got you covered. If you drive a BMW, they've got the full list over at VexEuropean.com. Once you see what makes of vehicles they cover, go ahead and look at that blog that they've got under the About section, and you can learn a little bit more about some of the things that they take a quick look at. Might remind you that, oh, I need this checked on. Then check out the specials and see if we can't save you $100 or so. You're going to find them in real life over off of Benefit Drive, 6265 Benefit Drive. That's the backside of Industrialplex. They've been there for 10 years now, celebrating their 10th anniversary. Check them out at VexEuropean.com. All right, this day in history, let's roll. All right, Kane, what you got?
Well,
What
Brian,
went down?
certainly-
What went down?
Well, considering that February is Black History Month, there's a lot of notable things you'll find this day in history in this month. In 1909, this day in history, the NAACP is founded.
Yeah.
1924, Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin was performed for the very first time.
Really?
Yeah. 1947, as Europe continues to recover from the devastation of World War II, French fashion designer Christian Dior launches his first collection, the New Look, Blue Steel. No,
He wasn't still pumping Tigray?
no.
One look.
1970, I'm going to give my best shot. Joseph Searles III becomes the first Black member of the New York Stock Exchange.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
1973, the release of U.S. POWs begins in Hanoi as part of the Paris Peace Settlement.
All right.
1999, President Bill Clinton acquitted on not one, but 2 articles of impeachment.
And we're still living it out today, right?
Mhm.
What the meaning of is?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was debated. That was the thing. We
That's right.
debated the word is.
Yeah. And we should have known society was headed where it was headed
Mhm.
when we couldn't determine what the meaning of the word is. You know, now you've got a documentary asking, what is a woman?
Yes.
If we can't know what is, how can we know what anything else is?
2002, former Yugoslav president Slobodan Milosevic.
That's a fun name to say.
Yeah.
Slobodan.
Yeah. How many Slobodans?
I don't know a
If you're
whole lot
going to
of
grade
Slobodans.
school,
Yeah.
a couple of Slobodans.
Yeah.
Are like,
Oh, I didn't think
Sloby?
about that. Sloby?
yeah.
Yeah.
He goes on trial for
Like
war
he,
crimes.
like I could see him transferring to another school, and on his first day, he's like, "My friends call me Don." No, they don't, Sloby.
Sloby he goes on trial for
But that's
some,
the, that's
war
the kind of
crimes.
name that like Richard Buffer,
Yeah.
Michael Buffer.
Oh, that'd be great.
Let's get ready to rumble, guys.
Mhm.
Slobodan Milosevic.
It sounds like someone who could be in the fighting sport.
Yeah,
Born today.
terrible guy by
Yeah,
the way.
yeah. Born today on this day in history, Abe Lincoln.
Yeah.
Charles Darwin,
Yeah.
Bill Russell,
Yeah.
Judy Blume.
Judy Blume?
Yeah,
All right.
she wrote the books.
Yeah.
Omar Bradley, who was a American World War II general.
All right.
Yep. Notable. Do you have any other birthdays?
Yeah, I sure did.
Okay.
You know what?
Yeah.
I already closed the document.
Oh.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Former general manager of the New Orleans Pelicans, Dell Demps.
Hey.
Dealing Dell, they called him.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt bad for him because, like, he was saddled with always trying to trade from a position of weakness, you know, and he looked bad. And then
Yeah.
he gets
Good thing we got
replaced.
Griff. Everything's going swimming.
Right. I miss Dell. We never did this bad with Dell.
Yeah.
Give me Dell back.
Celebrity deaths. The creator of, I know he did other things, but I know him from as being the creator of Peanuts and Snoopy and Charlie Brown, Charles Schultz.
Charles Schultz died today.
Yeah. Tom Landry, former NFL legendary head coach. Ethan Allen, who I had to look up. It was a U.S. soldier. I thought isn't that part of like a
he does the
designer?
furniture. He does the furniture.
Right.
Hey, Ethan Allen died today in 1789.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
American comedian Sid Caesar.
He was, I mean, the thing though, if Ethan Allen died, you have to realize, like, wherever he was super comfortable. Because he was probably on an Ethan Allen bed.
Yeah.
Might have died on his Ethan Allen couch.
Which is premium.
Yeah.
Yeah. J.C. Penney.
No kidding.
Did we mention that the other day? Or it was something?
Man.
I thought we brought that up.
I went to a J.C. Penney's the other day.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. I needed a white dress shirt.
Man. J.C. Penney. There's some good slacks there. I was trying to think. There was a store that was like a branch off from one of the brands they carry, and it was at the outlets. And I used to go often because they fit me so well. And then after the pandemic, that store shut down.
Damn it, J.C. Penney.
National Plum Pudding Day.
Did you go to Mervin's instead?
No, I don't think I made a pass.
You didn't hit up a open. Wow, that was like a Super Bowl commercial from '85.
Yeah.
That was a deep cut.
I don't remember
right
it,
there.
but I've seen it.
That was a deep cut
I was
right
quite
there.
too little to remember the commercials at that time.
Yeah.
Pepsi commercials used to be a big thing.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. The last
Cindy
really
Crawford
good
one,
Cindy Crawford.
There you go.
End it right there. The
The
goat of Super Bowl commercials.
And then Michael Jackson's like jacket caught on fire or something.
His hair caught on fire.
Hair caught on fire. Yeah. That's what it was. National Plum Pudding Day, which I mean, literally, that's the only thing listed.
Why would anybody put plums in a pudding? Why would you put plums in a? Plums are like the perfect fruit, like ice cold out of the fridge. You just. All right, Kenny Powers. You get a plum ice cold out the fridge, and it's just juicy.
I just see Will Ferrell.
Yeah, I don't think you got the plums.
That's history. It happened today, a long time ago.
It did.
Not long ago.
And it's brought to you by the folks over at 5 Star Printing and Sons. You can give them a call at 271-4096. Or if you're out in Denham Springs and you want to swing by, they've recently moved. Danny and his team packed up, set up shop over off of Range, right next door to Big Mike's. You know where Big Mike's is? Of course you do. It is a Denham Springs staple. They're literally next door. 5 Star Printing and Sons brings you this day in history every single day. Look, when you're putting your when you're putting your name out there, when you're networking, when you're trading business cards with other folks, it's got to be good looking, right? You don't want Patrick Bateman not liking your business card. So you go to 5 Star Printing and Signs, 271-4096. Oh, and how important is swag these days when it comes to branding your company? Hit up printshop5.com. You're putting your logo on any piece of merchandise out there. Printshop5.com, or check them out at 5 Star Printing and Signs. Quick break. Coming back. Let's talk casinos next. I'm going to move over to Mike 3. Oh. No, I'm going to move over to Mike 2. Sorry. Let's roll. Let's get in here. We got a lot to talk about. Yeah, y'all got those two, and
You
I'm
got
gonna
these
move over
two?
here.
Which one would you like, Richard? Take your pick.
Oh, I'll go right here. Right here?
Yeah, it'll work.
You know what? You got more to talk about with the construction. Why don't you take them and close to Brian, if you don't mind? I'm just going to talk about existing operation, and you got a lot of information to share.
Jump in there at any moment.
It's a lot of pressure. Yeah.
We'll turn my.
We're a tag team.
We'll turn this. Make sure we don't get.
Interrupted. Yeah. Find outside.
What do you want to talk about first?
We're gonna start with the construction and when the hotel opening up in a couple months.
Oh.
Oh wow! A friend of mine had a bald eagle in her backyard today.
Oh, wow. That's
How cool
awesome.
is that?
That's really cool.
Right in the backyard.
Very cool.
That's really cool.
That is. Those
I know.
Majestic. I've seen
Yeah.
a few of them in
Yeah.
a while. Majestic.
Yeah.
It's like,
And ginormous.
That's
Like
awesome.
they're the
so
only
much bigger
bit.
than people realize.
Yeah, they're the only bird.
Wingspan, like,
Yeah.
They're the only bird that looks like they could bench press.
Right.
that's so true.
818 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So between working here and the side hustle over there at LSU, the number of times I just head up Government Street that hang a left on Nicholson, it's pretty regular commute for me. And you just, as a creature of habit, you do what you do, and sometimes you're not paying attention. And then one day you look up and say, holy crud, when did that hotel start looking so good? The Bella Baton Rouge Hotel downtown is well on its way, and it is looking fine. Want to welcome into the show both Richard Cannon, general manager at the Bell, and Bruce Woods, general manager over the Queen. Fellas, how y'all doing this morning?
Very good.
Very well.
Let's get y'all right up on the microphones.
Very good. Thank you.
Absolutely.
No,
Brian.
glad to have y'all in here. Richard, let's start with construction in the hotel, and we'll get to the casino end of it in a minute, but the hotel's closer to an open date. So where are we at? How's progress?
Progress is excellent. Excellent. Some of the we've got a job fair today, 3 to 6. We're doing a hiring event, and for some that don't know, the boat actually is gone.
Yeah.
Left property, and so the hotel, 242 rooms, down to the stud project, and we've got more suites than any of the other hotels in the downtown area. We've got 63 two-bay suites. They come with a spacious living area, separate bedroom, one full bath plus a half bath. Really a nice space. Up on the top floor, on the 10th floor, is a Capitol Lounge, perfect for parties, get-togethers, entertainment spot. That's overlooking the beautiful views, Mississippi River,
Yeah.
the Capitol building. It's really a nice experience, and guests have access to that, as well as they can book that when they book their hotel room as a amenity. If they've got a large group and they want to book that, they can book that up there.
In addition, we've got suites and rooms facing the other direction where you've got these gorgeous views of the LSU Stadium and beyond. So the views that we have from up there are just really, really incredible.
You never think about that. Where you are located in downtown, your view is unimpeded back towards LSU because it's nothing that big. It's nothing to stand in your way.
And you don't realize it until you go up there and you look this direction, look north, and you say, wow, that's really something. Then you go to the other side and you look to the south, and there's the LSU Stadium, and just as far as you can see, it's really incredible. It's very nice, and we can guests can now book rooms starting now, and we're taking bookings in April. We'll be open March 31st, April 1st.
Okay,
and you can go to the bellabatonrouge.com to make those reservations, and looking beyond the hotel opening. So we've got the hotel opening in April, and then we've got the ongoing construction project, $141 million project that's going on. That will transform what used to be the atrium and what's known as Catfish Town and some of that area into this beautiful, vibrant entertainment complex. Includes the whole entire hotel renovation. We'll have 25,000 square foot of gaming space, contemporary gaming, approximately 775 slot machines, 22 table games, casual dining, fine dining, upscale cocktail lounges. We're going to have a state-of-the-art sports book, either a 28 or 32-foot video wall. It'll be like you're in a movie theater, but you're looking at sports, and it's really going to be incredible.
I got to ask, in the planning of all this, both the casino and the hotel, I don't know how the right way to word this, and I'm just going to sound stupid when I ask it. How Vegas-y does Baton Rouge need to be? Like, because I would imagine there would have to be a certain bar that you have to cross to make sure that expectation is met. That, like, because when you go to a Vegas hotel, you want that suite. You want, all the posh service that goes along with it. When you're at a Baton Rouge casino, if you're looking to bring people in from out of town, and when you have a hotel, you obviously do, you have to clear that bar.
And I think that we're well on our way. Bruce has been up there. I've been up there. We've got one. It's called a 4-bay suite, and I refer to it as the penthouse.
Okay.
Taken 4 standard rooms from yesteryear of the old hotel, strip the walls in between. There is 2 bedrooms. There's a living room and a game room. Shuffleboard. It's got a dart board. It's got a wet bar.
Now we're talking. Yes, let's go.
Yes, and it's we might get a foosball table in there as well. It's something that if you said you and your buddies, you're coming to town, or you're a high roller, you want to go to an LSU game, you want to just game. Maybe you're coming in for the bowling congress that's going to be staying over here at the River Center, and you've got one room on one end, the bar and the entertainment and the living room in the middle, and another bedroom on the other end. So you could stay on that side. I'm on this side. We party in the middle, or we have our festivities in the middle, whatever it is that we're doing, and it's right up there. I spent 30 plus years on the Las Vegas Strip.
Okay.
And I've been in a lot of suites. Now, square footage wise, it's not going to rival Caesar's Palace, 10,000 square foot, penthouse.
No, absolutely.
But it's as nice as I think anything in the downtown area.
Then on the casino front, I mean, you already had Bruce raise the bar on you with everything that happened over at the Queen.
Absolutely.
So you've got to meet that expectation while remaining unique.
Yes, and we realize that, and because you walk into the Queen and you go, wow, well, that's a little slice of Vegas right there.
Yes.
And so now, when you walk into the atrium, what used to be the atrium, I tell you, if you blindfold, you walk in, you're going to say, I really don't know where I'm at, because it's not going to even resemble the old atrium.
Amazing, because the exterior, you have that historic benefit. The aesthetic
of
the exterior
all remains.
Right. You have that on as you walk
shell,
in. So what you're saying is you're going to enter a completely different world.
You'll walk in. So the shell is still there. It still looks like the old, I'm going to call it a bird cage or whatever, right? Then you walk in and you're going to go, oh, wow, what there's false ceilings. There's things hanging. There's decorative pieces that are being put together right now. There's a piece that's going behind the front desk that's just incredible. And to support it, they've had to dig it's 5 foot wide, 5 feet deep of steel and concrete just to support this thing. And it's just a big decoration piece that's going to be phenomenal. And I'm not going to give the secret away right now.
No,
but
we'll get closer to launch date for that. We'll get closer to open date for that when we can get out there and take a tour. We got Richard Cannon in with us from the Belle of Baton Rouge. We've also got Bruce Woods over at the Queen. What's the latest at the Queen?
Hey, Brian, we're just rolling along at the Queen. We just had a great crowd in for the Super Bowl.
I'm glad you led there because that's where I wanted to go. So
right,
continue.
Had a great crowd in our 1717 restaurant. With all of the big screens there. We had some food special there that was really good. Sportsbook had a great crowd in as well. We just had a great time there. And New Year's Eve as well. We had a live DJ on the casino floor. It was just like a big party there. So we're continuing to provide great entertainment for the community there. We've got the Baton Rouge Zydeco Coaches Show tonight from 6:30 to 7:30. We got our dinner special tomorrow night, baby back ribs, and 1717 for $19.99. We've got a Valentine's Day special both Friday and Saturday, which is going to offer some unique items on the menu: crab and brie velouté, some lobster mac and cheese, smoked tenderloin of beef at $59 a person. We normally do entertainment every weekend. With this weekend being Valentine's Day weekend, we're still doing entertainment, but it will be a jazz trio during the Valentine's dinner. And then we'll be back to entertainment with Patrick Henry and the LB Band next Friday. So we're just continuing along there. As you know, we've got great close parking, well lit. So we're just continuing to try to provide the best service that we can for the community.
We've only got like 3 minutes left, so I got to squeeze a whole lot in here. But following up on the Super Bowl, Baton Rouge saw a whole lot. Wishell's Hotel was open for the last week, but Baton Rouge saw a whole lot of spillover when it came to hotel rooms. Did we see increased traffic throughout the week at the Queen?
Yeah, we did, and I noticed myself just being there on property that we had some players in that looked like they're traveling. You could tell they weren't just regular people that would come every day or every other day, that you could tell they were from out of town, in town for the game, whether to go to New Orleans or just be in the South Louisiana area to enjoy some of the festivities. But we certainly saw some increase in foot traffic related to the Super Bowl at the Queen.
What's this gonna be like moving forward? I mean, y'all, you're partners, but I mean, you're right down the street from each other. You're gonna be like besties and competitors at the same time.
Oh, it's like one big family. And as an example, we just purchased a 12-passenger shuttle. We'll wrap it. It'll have both logos from both properties on the van.
Yeah.
And we'll just take you, if you're staying at the hotel, but you want to go over and eat at the Queen or game over there or vice versa. We'll shuttle our guests back and forth between the two. And when we have today, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., we have a career fair. And when we have those career fairs, it's a joint venture.
Yeah.
We'll have representatives many times from both properties there. We may fill this need for the Bell, but Bruce says, well, I need two also, or I need this, or I need a server, I need a security officer, dealer trainee. We're hiring dealer trainees for both properties.
Okay.
And so it's a joint effort in everything we do. We have team members that work at both properties. We go up and down the street. If I need something, I call him. If he needs something, he calls me. We use each other's supplies, whatever. It's one big family.
Yeah, definitely.
We have one card for the players. So our casino guests, they only have to have one card.
Yeah.
So what you have at the Queen, you carry that same down the street into the Bell. You put the same card in the same. It's the same points. It's the same comp system. It's all together. It's one card.
That's so awesome. Okay, so you spent 34 years on the Strip. Is that offered in Vegas anywhere where you could be at the machine and be like, we're not hitting over here tonight. I'm gonna take the bus. Is that? I mean,
there are shuttles and there is a monorail system, but this is unique to
Well,
our
I mean,
two properties.
that's what I'm saying. Take
Yeah,
it to a
yeah,
partner where
right.
it's shared rewards and
Yeah,
shared welcome.
yeah, not that much because they're so close down there. They just make you walk down there,
Well,
right?
there's that too.
But yeah, this is a very unique situation, especially for the downtown Baton Rouge area, and really invested in the downtown Baton Rouge area.
We're gonna get follow up in a later interview. We'll get follow up on the merger with Bally's and all that. I'll talk to business into that. But before we get you out of here, one more time, you said there's a career fair. Give me the location of that one.
That is right here on 103 France Street. That's just right off of
Okay, so
Government.
y'all's house, yeah.
Literally right down the street from the studio here where we're at. And 3 p.m., 6 p.m. today.
Mm-hmm.
And we're hiring for various shuttle drivers, security officers, bartenders, in-room dining servers, table game dealer trainees. One note on the that we do for our team members, and we pay for your gaming licensing.
Oh,
Whether you're a key license holder or a non-key. So that's a savings to you personally of $555 if you're a key gaming.
right.
So when you apply, you have to go through the state of Louisiana. You have to get your key gaming license or non-key, depending on your position. And that's the value of $555. To a non-key person, that's $255. So the license is $500 plus $55 in fingerprinting. The company, we pay for that licensing.
Okay.
That doesn't happen at other properties.
What job descriptions need the key versus the non-key?
Your dealers, your pit supervisors, those type of positions are everybody. Those are all the gaming. But then as your position is elevated, if you're a director or a general manager,
executive levels,
then you
we'll
have
need
to be
we'll need a key license.
Gotcha.
So it's just a little more thorough of a
Right.
background by the state.
And Brian,
And,
one thing I would add to that, when we talked about the two properties, and I know that we've only got a couple of seconds left,
Yeah.
but they're both unique in their offerings. So even though we're so close together, we got one card. The Bell's offerings are going to be a little bit different than what we do at the Queen Baton
Mhm.
Rouge.
Definitely, there won't be cookie cutters there. You won't walk into that one and walk into the Bell. They're going to look so unique and so different.
Yeah.
So it gives each side a different experience.
Very.
Maybe this trip you want to go to the Queen. Next trip you want to go to the Bell. They're going to feel like completely different.
I want to go with whichever one's paying out. That's where I'm going to want to be.
And so that's the shuttle.
That's what I
If
went.
this isn't working, we get in the shuttle. We go down here.
Don't forget. Don't forget
so-
1717 for your Valentine's Day reservations. In fact, they've brought us some king cake bread pudding and I believe a little mac and cheese as well. You can hit them up over at the Queen. Richard Ken and Bruce Woods, thank y'all so much for the time today. I greatly appreciate it. Here comes news on Talk 107.3.
Thank you, Brian.
Sorry, that end of that snuck up on us quick.
Absolutely.
I could have done a whole hour on this. This is like, because I didn't even get into like the bittersweet of like, as a Baton Rougean, I love to see the investment. I love to see the buy-in. Like, y'all are going to make the casinos matter. Right?
Right.
But at the same time, we got no more boats.
Yeah.
There's no more boats.
So,
it used to be downtown Baton Rouge.
We had a big
Yeah.
ceremony last month.
Yeah.
There was a
We
lot of
remember the
cheers
cruising.
down there.
And the kid's gone right now too, so we are naked.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going over to see the guy at the kid
Park.
and
Yeah.
He's great.
going to
He's
see
real good
him,
guy, Park. Yep. We like Park.
today. Matter of fact, after the green
Yeah.
sheet call, I'm going to see him.
Yeah.
Cool.
All
I'm
right.
excited, man. We need to set something up where y'all are either advertising through me or what. I love
You
telling
should
y'all
come
stories.
over and I'll give you a tour.
Yes.
Yeah.
You say when.
I mean,
there.
Yeah. And we'll talk with our marketing team as well about the advertising thing.
Once
Yeah.
once everything's up and running, it's gonna be a fun story to tell. And there's also you need the reminder.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love low bears. They're way the hell out there.
Right.
Hey, Kate, can you grab Julia?
yeah.
It's,
Well, and I mean it because Bruce hadn't been over in a while, because we used to work good opposite. And then we
Right.
switched.
okay.
So I used to be at the Queen. He was at
Oh, that's the bell.
Then
Yeah.
we switched.
Okay.
So, but the front desk area, it's a trench, and they're pouring concrete and steel and rebar to support those
Yeah.
railroad ties,
Right,
and rail It's
We're
big
putting behind the
deck.
front
Yeah.
desk. Yeah.
It's big. It's giant, and there's these things hanging from the atrium, and then there's other false ceilings hanging.
You know all the history of the building, right? Like all the way back to Catfish Town.
Catfish Town.
Yeah.
What a
And
boondoggle
yeah,
that was,
and
and
the-
they
Yeah.
got off the ground.
the
And
train station.
Right.
And, so all that old brickwork's going to stay. The vibe in there is going to be like 20s speakeasy, where the queen, right? So the queen,
action.
Yeah.
Yes.
so that's the vibe
Embrace
here,
it. Yes.
where the queen has got that ultra modern feel.
Yeah.
And then you come to the Bell, and it's a whole different. Going to have an oyster bar, a pizza place with that old brick, and wine bar and cafe, but some of the
The bowling,
team member
yeah.
there's 2 bowling lanes. It's kind of for VIPs.
Okay.
You want to come and you want to reserve those 2 lanes. You and your buddies hang out in the back. There's 2 lanes, and it's like a VIP spot. And
Real cool. Yeah.
So good.
Right.
I can't wait.
All right, let's take a picture.
Yeah.
I have a doctor's appointment
Absolutely.
to go to.
You get the middle, Brian. Okay.
Yep. We got it.
Perfect. Thank
all right,
you.
all right.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you, man.
Always, always.
Yeah, when
It's
you
all
want to come
good
over,
stuff.
take
Hey,
it for a walk.
Yeah, I'll email. I guess Robin is going to email, and we'll set something up
All right.
within the next week or 2 if it's available.
And then you
Sure.
can send us any like advertising stuff too.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll be all over that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Good,
yeah.
good.
Because we do some radio with Ellen.
Yeah.
With Ellen before, and T-Bob and Hester. We had them before, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we like
Yep.
we
Yeah, I would like
radio.
that.
Kristen-
Well, and I share a lot of Target demo with them. In fact, the number of folks that say they listen to me because I'm on an hour before them,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Yeah, I'll listen for the 6 o'clock hour," and then I bounce back and forth after that. I'm like, "I'll take it.
Right.
It's there."
All right,
So-
Brian.
Was this one of those shows? Yeah.
That's the grandkids.
Oh,
Yeah.
very nice. On a cup.
This is one of my favorite gifts. My daughter and the grandkids.
Very cool stuff.
So yeah, come over. We'll grab a couple of hard hats, and I'll take you, give you the tour.
Let's go. I'm here for it.
It's exciting.
It
It's
is.
at that stage because when it's just bare bones and it's just you don't know.
Right. You can't see
You're
what's to
starting
come.
You're starting to feel. You're starting to go. Oh, I get it. Oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
It's starting to look like something.
Yeah, like if you're comparing it to building a house, they've put the counters in. That.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. I see where you're at. Oh. Florison. I'm gonna need you to count me down to 51. We'll skip the report, but hit the spot so we stay on the contract. We got rain coming up this afternoon and this evening. Probably about 3 o'clock is when at noon, we got a 40% chance of rain. But from 3 till 6, that's when we're going to be in the thick of it, at the 70% chance of rain. And this will be thunderstorms, and we will have wind, so it could get a little violent on the afternoon drive. After that rain clears out, temperatures are going to be slightly cooler tomorrow and Friday. In fact, tomorrow we're looking at a high of 60, Friday a high of 62. Now, here's where it gets crazy. Saturday's high is 83 and Sunday's high is 54. So think about that. We're going to go from 62 on Friday to 83 on Saturday to 54 on Sunday. Overnight low Sunday night and Monday will hit or should hit freezing. It's projected at 32 right now. Right now, we're at 68 degrees and cloudy in downtown Baton Rouge. It is 8:40 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. It is time for DC Current, presented by LABI, the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. It is your state's Chamber of Commerce, and we visit with Congresswoman Julia Letlow for this segment. Congresswoman Letlow, how are you?
I'm so good, Brian. It's always good to be with you.
Always good to have you on. We got to get down to business in just a minute, but there was something I forgot to mention last week that I really, really feel bad that I didn't mention.
Okay.
Take it back to Washington Mardi Gras. The swag bag coming out of the Julia Letlow suite had ibuprofen, had the liquid IV. The mama bear of Louisiana's delegation was being mama bear at Washington D.C. Mardi Gras because when I woke up on Saturday morning, I needed both of those things.
We got to take care of everybody, keep you hydrated. I'm glad it worked out.
100%. I was so appreciative. All right, let's get down to business. What's going on in Congress this week?
Okay, well, we have a busy week. It's kicking into high gear, talking reconciliation, trying to get our budget through. But today we're voting on the Midnight Rules Relief Act. And I'm focused on reducing regulations that limit economic growth and personal freedom. And this bill would make it easier for Congress to review and reject regulations that presidents issue in their final days of office. You may remember that President Biden handed quite a few of those down towards the end of his administration. And so we're hoping to put an end to that kind of trickery.
And this is a lot bigger than just Biden leaving and Trump coming in. This is something that it seems to have grown from president to president. It feels like every president kind of stretches that, pushes that envelope a little bit.
That's right. So we're trying to curb that and just make sure that there's checks and balances in place.
Speaking of President Trump, you were at the White House last week talking about when the president signed the executive order on women's sports. Walk me through a little bit of that experience.
Wow, that was incredible, Brian. I had the privilege of joining him at the White House. Again, that was my first time. I think I shared that with you,
yes, you did.
Last week, and it was kind of a surreal experience. He actually had a bunch of young athletes come in and stand on the risers behind him. It was inspiring to see all of those young women. And this is just common sense legislation. He said it multiple times in the press conference that it's crazy that we actually had to have this executive order in place. But, here we are. So it's about protecting women in sports, making sure that biological men cannot play in sports. And, as a collegiate athlete myself, it kind of hit home to me as I was sitting in that room. And I'm just really appreciative of the president for signing that executive order.
We're talking with Congresswoman Julia Letlow. This is DC Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Check them out at labi.org. Their big annual meeting coming up 1 week from today. Congresswoman, keeping with the White House a little bit here, but I want to pivot over to all the headlines right now are about DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. As a congressperson, as a congressperson, do you feel like when it comes to checks and balances, is DOGE staying in its lane?
I think it's always good to just sit down and review exactly what we're spending your tax dollars on. So I see this as a really good exercise. DOGE has revealed some crazy programs that money was going to. So I think transparency is a wonderful thing. They're shining light on things that needed to be exposed. And so I'm hopeful and excited about their efforts and want to encourage them to keep going, making sure that we're not spending your tax dollars on crazy programs that don't need to exist in the first place.
Is there a limit though? Because the House holds the purse strings. So, how close is the House watching Elon Musk, who's watching the bureaucracy? It's like everybody's keeping an eye on somebody. So what's the dial in there?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. So I'm hopeful that they'll continue to keep up the good work. A lot of my members are on the committee. So it's just a good exercise, Brian. We need to make sure that we are, we're exposing waste and fraud and abuse. And Americans voted for that. They want to make sure that we are spending their tax dollars wisely. So I'm hopeful they'll keep up the good work.
And that was a big part of what Elon Musk had to say yesterday was like those who went to the polls, the majority of those who went to the polls last fall voted for governmental reform. And this is what it looks like in real time. We're talking with Congresswoman Julia Letlow for just a couple more minutes. I need to bring it around to something that you've recently proposed. The headline for the press release reading, Letlow legislation improves disaster assistance from farmers and landowners. This is about getting some help from the wildfires in 2023. Walk me through what brought this about and what it does.
Yeah, well, as you know, ag is huge for Louisiana. It's huge for my district. So, I want to make sure that we are providing assistance to our farmers and producers and foresters whenever they face a disaster, a natural disaster. And so this issue arose in response to the wildfires that we saw in 2023, burning more than 60,000 acres of forest land and truly hurting our timber economy. So this bill would allow farmers and non-industrial forest landowners to receive emergency payments immediately following natural disasters. And it's just going to ensure that help is available for them as soon as disaster strikes, so they don't have to wait years in order to receive those payments. So my goal is to have that included in the next farm bill. I was told that it will be in the text, fingers crossed, for the farm bill, and we'll see it all the way through.
FEMA is kind of under the microscope a little bit, is needing a revamp or needing their own checks and balances as well. I feel like when I was reading up on this one, it feels like you're removing FEMA as the middleman here for this particular type of emergency. Is that close to accurate?
Yes, FEMA needs complete reform. So, I mean, I hear from constituents all the time who struggle with FEMA. So, yes, I want our farmers and producers to be able to receive that payment in a timely manner. Yeah, Brian, don't get me started on FEMA. That's a whole other conversation.
Oh, well, then let's get you started on FEMA.
Yeah.
Got about 2 minutes left
Yeah.
with Congresswoman Julia Letlow. What's on tap for this week?
Well, we are just going to finish up our work here,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to head back home. I have to tell you, Brian, I had such an amazing experience at the Super Bowl. It was my
Wait,
first
whoa.
experience
We
to
didn't
go.
lead with
Yeah.
that?
I know. I was hoping you would come around to it.
Oh, no,
Uh-huh.
go. Tell the story. I want to hear it.
Yeah, it was so awesome. What an incredible experience. My first Super Bowl I've ever been to. Brian, there was just something electric about the city. I've never seen it like that. I mean, kudos to our governor, Mrs. Benson. It was just an incredible experience. Everything was just so beautiful. And I was able to see President Trump there. And, of course, he was telling all of us how much Louisiana loves him. And I said, oh, yes, we do. And so it was just a really neat experience.
Did you just get the game, or did you get to do any of the other like surrounding things, like over by the Montreal Convention Center with the Super Bowl experience, or the Louisiana Now Pavilion, or just get a look around the city?
Yes, I got to go to some of the concerts. Was able to do a dinner the night before with Mrs. Benson. It was just an amazing experience overall, and one I'll never forget for sure. But the game I didn't really watch too closely. It was a blowout. So.
Yeah, it was a blowout quickly. All right, no. You opened another door here. Which concerts?
What's the artist's name? Gosh, I can't remember his name, Brian. He's got all the tattoos on it.
Jelly Roll.
No, it wasn't Jelly
Oh.
Roll. Gosh, his name escapes me, but
Post
he was
Malone.
awesome. Yes, it was Post Malone. Yes.
Unbelievable. The fact that I would have to choose between multiple tatted up dudes who were
Ah!
performing for the Super Bowl just tells you how many people converged on New Orleans for that
Yes.
week. And yeah, the city did a great job. The level of attention paid to New Orleans really shows what nurturing can do. And
Absolutely.
it's been kind of the buzzword around here. Whether you're talking about the level of attention that Cade Brumley is paying on education, Jeff Landry given to the Big Easy, we're showing in Louisiana in real time what nurturing can actually accomplish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I couldn't have said that better. That's exactly what I was trying to convey, and I'm hopeful that we started something, it will continue.
She is Congresswoman Julia Letlow, joins us at this time just about every week. Next week, we're on the road, so we will not have the segment, but we will reconvene after that. Congresswoman Letlow, we always appreciate the time.
Sounds great. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Next week, we'll be over with the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. They got their annual meeting coming up. We take the show on the road for that every year. It is one of the preseason games for the legislative session. As you get ready for the upcoming session, look, on my calendar, there are 3 things that I like to do every year to make sure I'm ready for the session. That's Washington Mardi Gras, that's Lobby's annual meeting, and that's the Pelican Institute Solutions Summit. We're getting ready for all of them. All right, we'll take a quick break right here. We'll close it out next. Do what? Oh. Holy God. Y'all, I opened the pan for the king cake bread pudding and lost a foot to diabetes. Guys don't get to do that. You know what's coming up Friday? Cockentine's Day. Oh man, it sounds like a oh. Look in the possibly. I'm just they might have all been brought downstairs. I don't know. Well, that ain't gonna help you. Yo, oh my God. So for those of y'all who have been along for the whole ride, holy crap, what a day, huh? Oh, feel it down in my plums. Can I upload a picture in the comments? I don't think I can. Scott says, go Richard. Richard and Bruce, aces right there, man. They were freaking fantastic. I didn't know how that segment was going to go. I've had Bruce on before and I knew he was good. But pairing the two of them together, but they canon. Yeah. Galen says, regarding the Pope rebuking Trump over deportations, the Pope should consult his Bible. Leave unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. You know what? You're not wrong. I mean, the Pope is always going to advocate for better humanity, but I don't know that you want Trump to be Caesar, though. Caesar wasn't Christian. Do what? Bannon. That's gonna who stabbed that motherfucker in the back right there. Yeah. Cash Patel. Cash Patel. That was an easy one. It's just I needed a second, and it was we got really racist really fast, but you know, I'm the one that said it. right. Right. Getting rid of the penny does not make sense. Ba-dum. Nickel, please. 8:56, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Yeah, the folks from the Bell and the Queen, they brought in a king cake bread pudding from 1717, and I have to imagine this is gonna be on the Valentine's menu as well. I probably should have asked about that, but they brought in a mac and cheese. But I opened the pan for the king cake bread pudding, and just by opening the pan, I got diabetes. This thing is beautiful.
On the side, it says it cures insomnia.
No, yes. And whatever that, it's so like sometimes you'll have an icing and sometimes you'll have a sauce.
Yeah.
This is somewhere in between the two. I don't know. It like Wilford Brimley is shaking in the corner right now. It's gorgeous. I'll put a picture up over on Talk 107.3's Facebook page. And shout out to them. They're just to see the landscape of Baton Rouge, where it is right now. We talked about it during the break with them. It's like it's bittersweet because you love to see the buy-in from the casinos. They didn't just throw up a building and leave it alone, right? They're making the investment to make sure Baton Rouge is successful on the casino front. But it's bittersweet because our river's naked. Ain't no more boats. Bell's gone, kids gone, Queens move on land. Like it's all ain't no more boats, man. All right, not out of here yet. We're gonna get you to the outside in just a second. I do have to remind you about the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. Do you have business in Washington, D.C., like Congresswoman Julia Letlow does? FlyBTR2DC.com is available for you. There's a direct flight daily. Leaves out in the 7 o'clock hour, comes back in the evening. You get your business done in a day. Same day turnaround if you want. Of course, if you want to stay over in Washington, D.C., there's nothing wrong with that either. But FlyBTR2DC is a website set up specifically for that flight. A lot of folks in Baton Rouge do have to make that trip from time to time. If you needed to FlyBTR2DC.com. For all of the rest of your business travel or leisure travel, FlyBTR.com is wide open on that front. And when you're looking at FlyBTR.com, take into account the whole experience. Take into account the parking. Take into account the time saved. Take into account the TSA maze and just the level of service once you get there. FlyBTR.com. All right, got to get the outside in. Let's roll with it. Starting off at St. Helena Parish, one person is dead, another's in custody after a shooting Monday night, according to the sheriff's office. Deputies said they were dispatched to a possible shooting on Sawmill Road at 7:55 p.m. They found Raisha Hills, 22 years old, dead from multiple gunshot wounds. Gareel Quennell Doughty, 22 years old, was booked for second-degree murder. Heading over to Ascension Parish, John H. Carter Company and Control Works LLC announced plans to build a $69 million 285,000 square foot facility out in Ascension. The company is expected to create 175 direct new jobs. I believe that number gets up over 400 when you include indirect jobs. 175 direct new jobs over the next 10 years with a projected payroll of $12.5 million. They're also going to retain 741 current jobs across the state. That's it. Moon's next. Oh. All right, I can roll that last story over into tomorrow's Outside In. Guys, we got Mike Strain tomorrow. We got Haggai Davis tomorrow. We got Crime Stoppers tomorrow. And we got Jenny Peters tomorrow. I can't wait. This is going to be today was heavy. Today was heavy. And yeah, if you tuned in the whole time, you know it didn't start off on the right foot. But heavy but good. Heavy but worthwhile. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Later.